Welcome. This is Stephanie with Growing from the Woodpile with Goose. Not sure what he's eating. I am a YouTube gardener that learns how to garden off of watching YouTube videos on other channels. And today we're going to be talking tomato tying. So I've had many of these things that I've used throughout the years. My first year I used a bunch of these, and they get fragile and break in the sun of the hot, scorching Phoenix, Arizona. I have the twine. I mostly use that for like peas and stuff. It's okay. I got this from the dollar store. It's probably the strongest, but there's not a whole lot of it. And it's hard to cut. I have to use like my garden shears to cut that. The Wrappy twist ties, I haven't used a whole lot because at the same time, I got this Wrappy clip like spindle here, which has worked the best. All right, got you in my chest mounted camera so I can use both hands. Anyways, you pull it out the middle, and then you bring it down here to this little cutter thing, and then you just press and it cuts it. So super nice and convenient until it got all tangled. And then I did some untangling. I'm gonna continue to pull this out, and I'll just cut it into smaller pieces because that's the thriftiness in me. And we're gonna tie up some tomatoes today. Had a big, not storm, it just was super windy the last couple of days, and it's knocked over some plants. And I hadn't tied them up, and the tomatoes are falling all over themselves. I'm gonna take my tool bucket that I actually sit on the top, and I'm gonna put some of these things back away in its pockets. I'm not gonna be using you. And let's go tie up some tomatoes. That's a good piece. Gotta save that. All right. Off. You can hear the drip irrigation just kicked on that I have on a timer. I have to be careful. I do have a gate, but it's not as easily to open. So I have tripped on this. I just gotta make sure I pick up my legs really far. Come on, old lady, lift them up. This tomato, start with this one in the bucket. Do think I'm going to fertilize him today because he just ain't looking so great. I don't think I've ever really grown tomatoes in a 5-gallon bucket, and he's done okay. But we need to give him a chance to live and get in there and tie him up and fertilize him. So probably, I usually try to go to, oops, I'm not seeing anything. Are you seeing that? Right here. It's where there's probably a sucker that I let live. So I try to go underneath something that like tees to like hold it up better. I'm gonna go in here and twist him around a little bit. And then I'm gonna go over here to the cattle panel and just tie him to the cattle panel. So these remind me of the old bread twist ties. And so that way, it's okay. So it reminds me of the old bread twist ties. So it has more like flexibility to tie things. But look at you. You have lots of good tomatoes on you. I think the oregano that was in here last year, he's coming back to life. So maybe I'll let the oregano live and only let this tomato plant, live until I harvest these tomatoes. I'm gonna try to right here. This one's kind of short, so I'm gonna cut off another piece. I'm gonna save that though. Stick it in my pocket. In my pocket. And this piece here that I had untangled, I'm just gonna take it over here to the cutter. Take it over to the cutter and cut it. don't know if I cut that any bigger. Silly me. Stand up. I think you may be able to see better if I stand up. I'm just twisting it underneath this cluster here on a stem, and then just gonna come over here and twist it to the cattle panel. All right, he is up and supported. Now these are all falling down in this bed over here. And all right, bunch of not knowing how to film right now. So this string right here, I had peas in here. The string piece, tied it all the way across. So I do have, you know, some in there. All right, let's pick you up. Let's tie you to here. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see a whole bunch of this. Where'd my seat go? My seat fell over. All sorts of discombobulated going on. All right, I'm just going to pre-cut a bunch of these pieces from this extra that I am using. Goose is digging a hole. All right, I'm gonna pick up this tomato plant here. He has pretty good growth on him. Try to weave him in the cattle panel just a little bit. Oh, well, yeah, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Gonna lift him up. Put him underneath the old pea stuff. And then tie him up. And I haven't gone through and pruned off any of the suckers. I'm just like, you can be. I'm gonna tie him up there too. So I'm gonna use my other pre-cut piece. It's gonna go in here underneath some branches. Tie him up. Now, what are you? Got some more over here. Just cutting some more pieces. Alright, you are long and skinny. It's a spider web. I don't like touching spider webs. I'm just going to... This guy has some big floofy flowers. Right here. Here's some... So this one has some flowers on it. Hopefully it won't drop. He's nice and big. He does a little bit scare me because he is so big. And then on top of that, I don't want to break him. And he has bugleos in him. Bugalows, yes. Got some aphid overflow from the... Alright. He's from last year. Really hasn't given me anything. Planted him in the fall. So maybe if he gets more airflow, kind of just let him be wild. Kind of just pulled him, I pulled him up and just threaded him through there. So just trying to contain him a little bit. All right. Maybe now with some more airflow. Hopefully he won't drop his flowers. We're getting up into the hundreds now. And hopefully with the shade cloth, he won't drop all of his flowers, but usually around 90, 100, they start dropping their flowers. And then you don't get any more tomatoes until the season cools down. And then they'll start up again in the fall. So basically you just keep plants alive until then. Sprays this Napa Chardonnay. It just keeps on living. He don't look like he's putting out any flowers though, so I just need to pull him. And it's hard for me to pull plants. It's hard. All right. This one has given me nothing. Oh yeah, there he is. He has some down here. A whole bunch of dill seeds on you too. So I'm just gonna kind of stand him up. Go underneath a branch. And twist him over. I never know if you should go in there and cut off all this old yucky growth. There's so many dill seeds in here. So I try to, at this point, to just push the tomato on the other side of the cattle panel, so maybe it'll grow up that side and then I can push it back this way. That's my thinking, at least. At least. Okay. On to the next one. I tie you up? See, like he's kind of on both sides, but I'm just gonna give him one little support. Cut me a piece. Just gonna go in here and just tie him a little bit. Gooseman, you were digging a big hole and eating weeds. I thought cats are the only ones that eat grass. Well, I'm gonna keep going. Oh, you're digging a big hole. And that's why we have a fence. Got quite a few tomatoes I'm gonna go throughout. But this is what I'm doing. Hopefully saving the tomatoes and airing out the bottom of the plants. So I'll get tomatoes again in the fall. Because right now it is May. Don't think I said that at the beginning, but thank you for learning and growing with the Woodpile, where we're tying things up.